From Scripps Sports, this is Bobcat Insider, sponsored by First Interstate Bank.
We're coming off the bye week with the Bobcats heading down to Southern California to take on Cal Poly this weekend. We've got head coach Brent Vigen and linebacker Bryce Grievy joining us here in studio. Hello, everybody. I'm Keaton Galogly alongside Grace Lawrence. And Grace, first of all, how was your bye week?
The bye week treated me well. I think it treated the team well. You know, everyone got to rest up, and I'm ready to go to Cal Poly.
No doubt. I got a chance to catch up on some basketball. Men's and women's basketball are going to look very good this year. But staying on football, we got our first playoff committee reveal. One of two we'll get during the regular season. North Dakota State and South Dakota State are 1 and 2. Tarleton State at 3. The big difference with the media poll was that they had Montana State at 4 and Montana at 5.
Yeah, I think you can assume that the committee put some emphasis on strength of schedule with Montana State. Also maybe the way they're playing common opponents with the Grizz. Also the markers this week. North Dakota State versus South Dakota State. Always a great one. And how will that affect the rankings depending on which one loses?
Absolutely. We'll see how far the loser falls, if at all. And of course, those top 4 seeds earn at least a home game in the quarterfinals as well. So that 4-5 difference is a big one. But that's a lot of hot air for us to talk about. On the field right now, Justin Lamson continues to stack.
QB1 is just playing at a phenomenal clip, and I think if he keeps playing at this rate, they keep stacking wins. He's building a case to be the Big Sky Player of the Year.
Absolutely, and he's being well complimented by Adam Jones, who was the preseason Big Sky Offensive Player of the Year, coming off his best game of the season against Idaho State with 173 yards on the ground. We're talking about that and more with head coach Brent Vigen after this on the Bobcat Insider.
Welcome back to Bobcat Insider, sponsored by First Interstate Bank.
We're back on the Bobcat Insider, coming off the bye week with the Bobcats heading out to Cal Poly this weekend. Keaton Galogly alongside head coach Brent Vigen. And Coach, first of all, how was the bye week for you guys?
It was good. I think we got some good work towards improvement done. We certainly started our prep against Cal Poly, got some recruiting done. I think got some guys healed up. We got to enjoy a weekend at the same time. I think that was really good for our entire organization, coaches, players alike, to have that Saturday and then get back to work on Sunday and players on Monday.
No doubt, and a couple of former Bobcats got to work on Sunday in the NFL and even on Monday with Ty Okada as well. How much you been able to follow those guys this last week?
Certainly follow Ty. I think his ascent right now has really been exciting to watch. It's about opportunity and which he got, and he's made the most of it. Proud of him and what he's been able to do amongst the other guys. I got a chance to see Alex play a little bit. I know Daniel's continuing to make his way. I'm certainly hopeful that Troy is on the mend, and we will see him out there at some point too.
Well, always fun to see those guys take advantage of their opportunities, and maybe Ty Okada, one of the better stories in the NFL right now. But sticking with what Adam Jones did in the last game against Idaho State, his best game of the year. What'd you like out of his performance?
Well, again, opportunity. To use that word again, I think he made the most of it. I think the offensive line created some, I don't want to say easy opportunities, but some gaps and some creases for him to get in, and then he really did a good job at the second level. That's the biggest thing for our backs. If we can get them on that second level, we can get them on safeties. They're hard to handle, and Adam had several of those chances, and was very productive. And it's been there all year. I think it's just a matter of. He had a little more volume on that particular day. We needed to run the football in the rain like it was, and it was great to see Adam have that type of performance.
It did seem like you were excited to put to bed the question of, quote, what's wrong with Adam. Bring us inside the inside dynamic of that a little bit. I mean, were you talking Adam up at all, or was he very clear-eyed about the focus?
Well, I think he's been doing all right. It's, again, as a running back, you only control so much. And I think by and large, the things he could control through the course of the season, he was doing a pretty good job. And he had, for several games, a lot of short yardage chances, which he was really successful on, but you're not adding up those yards. And, this game where he had, a chance to get out there in the open field a bunch. He's suited for that, but he's been playing well all season, and I know statistically, we're chasing higher stats, I suppose, but I know for Adam, all he's about is winning, and he's certainly contributed to the fact that we're on a five-game winning streak right now.
Well, another Montana native really contributed to winning in the last game in Rocky Lencioni, his first touchdown at Bobcat Stadium, his first multi-touchdown game as well. When he came up from the Bozeman Hawks as a wide receiver, what were some of those early things he had to do in order to earn his time on the field?
I think for him transitioning, it was putting weight on, putting strength on. He played high school receiver and free safety, so I think there was a lot of things that did translate. Certainly running routes and catching the football. We didn't have a fear that he wouldn't be physical, but to be physical at this level, there's strength and weight, a weight component. He did a great job of putting on that weight and strength in year one that now has allowed him to be, I think, a very productive player in just his second year.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the defense, which got 3 takeaways in this game. And we went in talking about the cornerbacks, the secondary against these huge physical wide receivers for Idaho State. How'd you feel like they performed?
I thought we held up pretty well. I know there was a couple 50-50 balls in there. The long touchdown certainly wasn't, I don't think was on the secondary necessarily. They challenged those guys. We challenged them. Carson got the turnover on the punch out, which was just a pure hustle play, not giving up. So I think that group continues to answer the bell as far as the challenges that we're presented with, and this week there'll be more of them.
I want to talk a little depth in that safety spot as well, seeing Tim Thomas get out there, J.J. Dolan, Coulter Petrie, along with Caden Dollar as well, and Bryant Meredith. But just how have you seen that depth at the safety position continue to grow the last couple weeks?
Yeah, I think, in Caden and Taden we have 2 very solid performers, and I think they've taken their games to a new level. In Bryant Meredith, you see a guy that he gets better by the week, and his position flexibility to play both free and nickel has been there. JJ, while he missed the Northern Arizona game, I think he's been real solid for us. Coulter Petrie's got some opportunity to get out there, and he's done a good job. And now Tim has been added, to that into the mix, I guess, at free safety, and continues to get better and better. And we'll get Taki back eventually, but the depth there now compared to where we were, back in August is a significant improvement and change and everything that we needed.
Well, we're going to be talking to Bryce Grievy about this linebacker room as well, and that did feel like it was one of the position groups that maybe was a little bit thin coming into the year, but a Bobcat legend, Jody Owens, really taking control of that. What have you seen from Jody Owens and the way he's really built up this entire linebacker room this year? Yeah,
he's been very demanding. I think he's got got those guys coached up week in, week out. And now we got a room that, we've got 5 guys playing, and you have 5 guys playing in some form. That's a credit to him. It's a credit to those guys taking the coaching. And I think we have that competition in there that we only can play 2 at a time. So, those guys got to be on it to be, earning playing time. I think Neil going down created a sense of urgency for guys like Cole in particular. The emergence of Xavier as a true freshman has been promising. I think Ryan Correa continuing to find his way. And now the return of Neil has put us in the position in addition to Bryce. So thin on experience to start, but now we get to mid-year and we have a pretty experienced, talented, hungry group.
Well, that talented, hungry group is heading down to Southern California against this Cal Poly team, which has 2 very capable quarterbacks, a couple different running backs, some great linebackers as well. Overall, what are some of these strengths you're seeing from Cal Poly that you're going to face on Saturday?
Yeah, much improved team. We didn't face them last year, so much improved. I think they've been highly competitive, in the conference for sure, beating Sac State, losing, to Davis and Montana, but being very competitive. So it starts, that's a collective effort. I think defensively they're playing very sound, very physical. And on the offensive side, even though they've gone through the quarterback position like they have, playmakers have emerged. Briscoe's one of the better receivers, certainly in the conference. And they've been able to get off the fast starts. So that's something that we're going to have to combat. Fast starts have led them to be very competitive in these games. What can we do to have a fast start ourselves? I think will be very important on Saturday. All
right. You're looking forward to some Southern California weather as well for this game?
Yeah, it won't be too bad for a couple days.
Yeah. It does get a little bit cold sometimes by the ocean. All right, we're talking to Bryce Grievy here in just a bit, but first a timeout, and then Grace Lawrence will rejoin us on the Bobcat Insider.
Welcome back to Bobcat Insider, sponsored by First Interstate Bank.
Let's talk some Bobcat defense. Montana State coming off a shutout in the second half against Idaho State, which is one of the best offenses in the Big Sky. And Grace, so far we have seen some really, really good Bobcat defense. What excites you about that group?
What excites me most about the group is the word swarm. I think that's exactly what happens either when a receiver comes down with the ball or the way they pass rush and get after the quarterback. They're all working as a unit in all 3 parts of that defense. And I think another thing that excites me is how the secondary has grown. They were young coming into the year. They just keep stacking.
Absolutely, and they really need that during this this stretch. Obviously, Idaho State, a great quarterback. Cal Poly's running out 2 different quarterbacks that have both been very good. Plus, they have the #1 wide receiver in the league in number 10, Michael Briscoe, as well. So they're going to need that. And one of the reasons they've also been able to pass some of these defensive tests is the depth of that linebacker room.
And being a linebacker at Montana State, you got to imagine there's a lot of pride in that. There's been a great lineage. I mean, they're really 5 guys deep. Neil came back. You go to Cole, you go to Ryan, you go to Xavier. I could keep going, and I will, because Bryce Grievy is coming up after this.
Get social with Bobcat fans and follow MTN Sports on Facebook, Instagram, and X. Welcome back to Bobcat Insider, sponsored by First Interstate Bank.
Welcome back into the Bobcat Insider. Grace Lawrence joined alongside linebacker Bryce Grievy. Thanks for joining me today.
Yep.
First off, the bye week. How'd it treat you? How'd it treat the team for everyone to reset?
It was good, mostly for our bodies to get a rest, get to kind of clear your mind. I got to go home, like I said, and clear my mind, see my family, see my little brothers, and do a little hunting, which I love to do. But ultimately, it was good. I've kind of been banged up a little, kind of get some rest, along with a bunch of other guys on the team. So it was it helped a lot to get that bye week.
Yeah, that's always great. It seemed like it fell during a really good part of the season. You know, going into the second half of the regular season, what's the biggest thing your defense wants to hone in on?
Just keep getting better. Like Coach Vigen says, it's either teams right now are getting better or they're getting worse. And I feel like just keep elevating our defense, finding little things within our defense to keep getting better at.
Yeah, being a younger team this year, do you think that this team is a bit more coachable and wanting to get better every week?
Yeah, we're young and stuff, so we're still trying to figure things out. And our coaches have really been pushing us, especially Coach Owens, really been pushing us as linebackers. And I feel like everyone's bought in, all the younger guys bought in, and we're just keep trying to move the thing forward.
Yeah, you're playing at such an elite clip on that side of the defense. You know, talk to me about that standard. Where does it come from, and what is it like upholding it every Saturday?
I would say it comes from the guys that were here before us, just watching how they played, and then the tradition and how the coaches, Coach Howe and all the leaders that are above us teach us how to play within the defense. And starting with Coach Vigen, I mean, just them, how hard they push us to play, run to the ball every single play. I think that's really what's been different.
Yeah, and you know, you talk about the lineage of linebackers this program has. Talk to me about upholding that standard and the pride in being a linebacker at Montana State.
Yeah, there's been a lot of Montana linebackers, which Troy, Callahan, all them guys, which I really take pride in following in their footsteps. And I've just been trying to do the best I can do, and if I'm getting better, then the unit's getting better, our team's getting better. So that's what ultimately I've been trying to do.
Yeah, and it's no different this year. You, Neil, Cole, Ryan, do you guys have like rivalries within the room of being from Montana, different towns?
Yeah, like crazy. Like all these AA teams are playing, and like they're always talking trash, like CMR sucks this year and all this, giving Cole crap and stuff. But yeah, they're always talking it up, especially Neil.
Yes,
yeah.
And you know, I just rattled off 3 more names. You have Xavier as well. You guys are really 5 deep in that linebacker room. Coming into fall camp and this off season, what did Coach Owens hone in most for you guys to build that depth?
Yeah, he's been talking about it since the spring. We're young. We need to build depth. People get hurt. The next guy's got to be able to step up. And I feel like Coach Owens really cares that he wants everyone to get better, even the scout guys. He's always pushing them, talking them to get better. And I think ultimately that's what's really helped the younger guys come along.
And as a Hall of Famer himself, does he ever give you guys tips or talk about his experience when he played here?
All the time, every week. Just telling us little things that he liked to do, little things that he's figured out throughout his coaching years. And like I was telling you during fall camp, like all those little sayings and stuff. And he's he's pretty nitpicky about the little things. He's always talking about the little things, how when you do little things, big things happen. So that's really, like, as a young group like us, we've been really trying to figure out the little things, because that's what's going to make the difference.
Yeah, and we talked about legacy. You get to carry on a family legacy. You got to play with Brody, and now Brody's graduated. What is it like to carry on the Grievy legacy in the program?
It means a lot to me. I really miss playing with him and miss seeing him every day and stuff, but I feel like he's really set a strong foundation for our family here, and I'm just going to keep doing the best I can to uphold it.
Being one of the older guys on that defense now, how have you seen your leadership grow this season?
Big time. Like last year, I was out there a lot with Danny and McCade and Rylan and a bunch of those older guys that were always telling me what to do and stuff and always helping me out. But now I feel like I've kind of stepped into the spot on the field where I got to be the one communicating, talking to the D-line and the back end, getting everything on the same page. So I feel like that's really where I had to take a step, communication and stepping up in that role.
Yeah, and you've got the hat on, Melstone, your family ranch. We talked about the family legacy. How great is it also to represent Melstone every Saturday?
It means a lot, because I know the whole town's always watching our games. Every Saturday they have it on at the bar or the cafe or whatever, and they're always watching it. And every time I come home, they're always talking to me, saying, "Good job, we watch all your games," and everything. And it means a lot to come from a small town and represent them.
Yeah, that's great. And now you guys are going to be back on the road this Saturday at Cal Poly in Southern California. Is it going to be nice to get out into that warm weather for a couple of days?
Yeah, it's going to be nice, the low elevation and the warm weather I'm looking forward to. But yeah, they're a good team, and we need to be ready for them. They've played a lot of good teams tight, and yeah, we're preparing the same way we have every week.
Yeah, it seems like that program's made a jump from previous years. What stands out most about that offense that you got to hone in on going into Saturday?
They got some playmakers, for sure, and they play hard a lot, and they have a good scheme. So when you put those together, then they can make something happen. So we got to keep preparing and be ready for what they're going to bring at us.
Yeah, in the second half of the regular season, this team always goes into that second gear. What are you most excited for this final end of the regular season?
Just keep pushing forward, keep getting better. I didn't necessarily start the season off exactly the best I wanted, but just keep getting better and keep pushing it along and getting better in the situations, and yeah, that's what I would say.
Awesome. Well, we can't wait to watch. Thanks for joining me today. Best of luck out in Cal Poly and for the rest of the season. Stay tuned, because Keaton and I will be previewing that matchup against the Mustangs coming up after this.
Take coverage of the Cats with you. Download our mobile app today. Welcome back to Bobcat Insider, sponsored by First Interstate Bank.
Welcome back into the Bobcat Insider. Grace Lawrence joined alongside Keaton Galogly, and we've been talking about this current Montana State defense, how they're playing at an elite clip. But how about those guys in the NFL? Daniel Hardy, Alex Singleton, Ty Okada having a great game on Monday Night Football, getting it done in the league.
Always so much fun to watch former Bobcats play on Sunday, and frankly, it just proves the point that you can get there from here. And the way the Bobcat defense has been playing lately, it does feel like there's a few guys on this team that will get there eventually, but they've got a big test against this strong offense from Cal Poly coming up on Saturday.
Yeah, when we talk about keys going into this game, I'm going to go over to the offense. You know, the team is going to be in some warm weather out in California. The sun's going to be setting. I want to see Justin Lampson connect with his plethora of receivers and tight ends. I want to see them get it done through the air on Saturday.
Be a lot of fun. Of course, Lampson coming off a career-high 4 passing touchdowns against Idaho State. But Grace, for me, I think one thing I'm really interested in is how do these Bobcat running backs match up with those linebackers? Mike D'Amato, number 44, their middle linebacker, is an absolute force. That's going to be fun to watch. We'll see if the Bobcats get this thing done coming up on Saturday with a 6 p.m. kickoff against Cal Poly. For Grace Lawrence, I'm Keaton Galogly. Talk again next week on the Bobcat Insider.